This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. So I got to applaud the NFL on this because I think what they've been doing with allowing more kind of access and more information in on how this draft goes is making the draft such a more compelling product, right? Like they released this Pick Is In documentary, which feels like kind of like a Hard Knocks kind of look at the draft, but it's not just one team. It's looking at a bunch of different teams and kind of letting us in. And I think we got a lot of really interesting information from that, specifically about what the Cleveland Browns wanted to do, since the Browns are one of those teams that were really active about maneuvering where they were in the draft. So there's a lot of interesting clips that come out this. I'm going to start with this first clip, which is discussing the Cleveland Browns trading back from 6 to 9.
I've heard about Cleveland feels like it's got to deal with somebody to move back. Not like they've got enough opportunities, they feel like. So that I don't know whether that's Kansas City or Dallas.
That's all right. You still good? All right. So let's stay on the line. Okay. I'm going to have Coop go ahead and call it in. We'll stay on the line so Chris calls it in.
Yeah. This is Ted.
Okay, hang on. They're on the other line. All right, 6 for 9, 74, 148. Okay, got a deal.
Cleveland has traded its pick. Kansas City is on the clock.
We have a trade. We have a trade. Trade. I get terrible Wi-Fi here. Hey, how do I get to the alert? Did the alert get up?
All right, so we traded out 6. We're going to 9 with Kansas City. Thought being we have 3 guys that we would take at this spot with Fano, Tyson, and Maui Noah. We go to 9. We're guaranteed one of those positions. We'll see what Washington and New Orleans do. They did not get it.
All right. So one, if you've watched that clip and you've watched my mock drafts over the last year, you might start to understand why it is that I do my mock drafts in the way that I do them, right? I think even Andrew Berry talked about the mock draft's not a prediction. It's something that serves as preparation, right? And a lot of times in my mock draft, when I'm debating a trade back, I'm counting how many players do I want to take at 6 and using that to determine how many spots am I okay with moving back. That's the reason I do it, right? Because I think that's smart calculus on how far you should move back. I've watched the Browns move back further than they have players to take, right? So it just leaves you in a good spot. The Browns right there, they make it clear, hey, we're moving back 3 spots. We're okay with Jordan Tyson, my bad. I was just watching the Cavs game. Jordan Tyson, we're okay with Francis Mauanoa, and we're okay with Fano. Obviously, they had Fano over Mauanoa. I don't know where Tyson was in that conversation, and also would like to pat myself on the back while everybody was arguing about Carnell Tate. I was making the argument that maybe Tyson is who the Browns would want to draft. Now, again, I don't know if Carnell Tate would have been in that conversation for him. We don't know that information, but we do know that Jordan Tyson was in the mix at 6. That is confirmed information. It just came out the mouth of Andrew Berry. So when you see me do my mock drafts the way I do it, this is why. Because it gives you kind of an understanding of how the team is going to operate a trade back. A lot of times we just talk about a trade back in terms of what we can get. But the most important thing for a team like Cleveland, when you're trading back, and Andrew Berry has proven this, because this is exactly how his trade back went for Mason Graham last year when he went from 2 to 5. The most important thing for Andrew Berry when he's going to make a trade back is how many spots can I move? Can I move back these spots and still get somebody I would have taken at my original spot? If the answer to that is yes, I'm more comfortable doing it. If the answer to that is no, then I'm not going to do it. And just to prove that point that Andrew Berry is not just some trade-happy general manager that's just going to smile and get giddy at any trade offered to him, listen to how he handled what was a pretty poor trade offer from the Dallas Cowboys that a lot of people on Browns Twitter wanted Andrew Berry to take.
Saints, and then the Browns will select next.
Hey, maybe Dallas is asking if they're interested in
Yeah, Will text me too. It's all depends on who's there and it depends on the price.
They want to come up tonight.
They say, what about? They're 24. So 9 and 24 for 12 and 20. Asking just to cogitate on it.
They want to do 9 and 24 for 12 and 20, which is light on all dimensions.
Oh, there it is.
New Orleans has submitted its pick. Cleveland is on the clock.
Tyson. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. You get a tackle.
New Orleans Saints select Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. They're on the clock.
They're on the clock. I offered their 9 and 24 for 12 and 20.
And say, what else would you want?
Yeah.
Is this Andrew?
Yeah. how you
Hey,
doing?
this is Steven. Are y'all
you
gonna
doing?
pick away here?
We are. We wouldn't do the swap, but for sure.
Okay, if we threw in a 5, would that change it?
No, that wouldn't really move it for us.
Doesn't move the needle. Okay. Appreciate
I
you.
appreciate you. That.
All right.
All right. That's a lot.
I keep hearing Cleveland wants an offensive lineman, and they're worried New York's gonna take it. They don't want to get behind the Giants.
That's right. All right. Hey, Ayers. This is your orange dot, buddy. It's supposed to be like best defensive pop.
We're getting the best tackle in this entire draft. This kid's rare combination of athleticism, quickness, strength, and his ability to excel on pass protection is truly something special. I think he's an excellent run blocker. He's gritty, he's tough, he's rangy, and most important thing, like this is the best person in the entire draft. This is one of the highest character guys I've done in the 10 years I've been on the road. This guy is shit substitute.
Browns pick Fano.
Exactly what they wanted. They just picked up an extra third and an extra fifth.
All right, we're going to break that clip down, but first I got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. When I say that I think Andrew Berry is good at his job, I don't say that lightly, right? I don't say that because I like Andrew Berry's press conferences. I don't really care for his press conferences, to be honest with you. I don't say that because I have, some kind of favorable opinion of him personally. I don't know him personally. I say I think Andrew Berry is good at his job because I really try to look at every asset and every focal point of his job and evaluate that fairly, right? I did my breakdown last year of an objective review of Andrew Berry, and what it popped up was like, hey, the drafts could use some work, but they've been getting better over the last few years. And then obviously last year's draft is a huge boon for him. And then the free agency stuff is strong. The trade stuff is strong, even when you factor in the Deshaun trade and how that can affect approximate value. And the player personnel, pro personnel management stuff is extremely strong with Andrew Berry. Also, I try to evaluate his processes. A lot of people get mad because you trade back. But I don't care if you trade back, right? I care about the process that led to that trade back. You can obviously see here that the process is sound. The Browns aren't just doing shit. They are trading back because they know that they can get somebody they would have coveted at 6 and pick up an extra third-round pick. That's good process, right? When I say good process, That's what I mean, right? When you look at Ray Farmer's trade backs, when you look at Sache Brown's trade backs, when you look at some of the stuff the other GMs have done, it's hard to really understand what the process is there, what the thinking is there, because there's nothing really consistent there. When you look at Andrew Berry's stuff, it's like, oh, this is the same process that he used with the trade with Jacksonville, right? The logic with the trade with Jacksonville was, hey, at 2, we have enough people on the board that we would feel comfortable taking at 2, that if we move back to 5, we can still take somebody that we would have liked at 2. And we can pick up an extra first, we could pick up an extra second, and still get one of our guys. See, that's understanding how a trade back should work. The net value that you get from a trade back doesn't matter if you're grabbing in a different bag than where you began from with the trade. And as much as people will get mad at the thought of a trade back, think about what Andrew does with these trade backs. He never moves back so far that he can't get somebody he would have wanted at 6. So he's not even in his mind passing up on premium talent. He's saying, hey, look, I got 3 guys I have premium grades on. These are the guys that I'm comfortable with taking at that position. And we're going to roll the dice because we know the odds are in our favor there. That's smart. Right? That's the difference between smart teams and teams that just like to trade back. That is why it is that I think that Andrew is a strong GM and why I think that it makes sense that he kept this job and the 2-time coach of the year didn't. Because when we asked Kevin Stefanski to demonstrate his strength and we put it all on him, remember last year, at this time last year, we were talking about putting this all on Kevin. We're going to build the offense around what Kevin wants to do. We're going to let Kevin get back the Kevin ball. That's what we were talking about all offseason. And then Kevin goes and does his Kevin ball, and it looks like shit. And, well, the realization is obvious. There's like, okay, well, Kevin's not as good as we thought he was. But with Andrew, his back's been against the wall the last 2 years. Had the Myles Garrett trade rumors. He deals with that very soundly. Ends that with a contract extension. Not just with Myles reporting to camp, but a contract extension. Okay, cool. Now we deal with the draft in 2025, and everybody's nervous about what we're going to do with the number 2 pick. And then he maneuvers around the draft away that you're very happy with what they pulled out that class. And then this year, back against the wall, you need to replace the whole offensive line. You need a new wide receiver room. What does he do? He replaces the whole offensive line with good money deals, thinks outside the box to get the trade for Titus Howard, and then works the draft in a way to where he can get his top tackle, he can get one of his top receivers, he can get another one of his top receivers, and he got Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who I think is one of the top players in this draft. Back against the wall, those are the results for Andrew Berry. Right? When we're like, hey, we got to see what this guy can do. There's going to be a lot of draft picks coming up now that we're free of the Deshaun Watson trade and the burden that put on this team. You're asking him to produce, and he's producing. And look how calm he is in those rooms. Look how he doesn't panic. Look how the second that trade is offered by Dallas, he knows if that value is enough or not. And it's not some kind of like subjective thinking there. He has processes in place to where they can put that information in and they can tell them objectively, no, that's not enough. Dallas tried to okie doke you there, right? Dallas thought we were stupid. They thought they were trading with the old. We gonna give you 12. We gonna have you move back 3 spots after you just got a 3rd round pick. We gonna have you move back 3 spots after you move back 3 spots, got a 3rd round pick and netted it, and we're gonna compensate you for moving back 3 spots by giving you a trade up to 20 when you don't even know what's going to be on the board yet. And then, okay, we'll sweeten the pot with a 5th round pick. Do you think we're stupid? Like, did they think that we were stupid? The Browns were able to get a 5th round pick later in that draft easily. They got like 5 5th round picks in that draft. Dallas threw that 5th round in like, oh, that's going to get them. Because they thought we were stupid. But we're not, because we're managed a lot better than people kind of assume. And look, I get that. I get why the assumptions are there about how this team is run and people don't think we're ran well. It's because the winning hasn't really followed. And the winning has to follow eventually, right? We can't just lose and be like, AB's cooking though, right? Like after a while, if we don't win, it don't matter. And that winning does have to follow. No, don't get me wrong on that one. We don't start winning games, look, you're going to have to do something. But This is why I'm like, when I look at him and I evaluate him doing his job, I'm like, okay, the stupid shit that the Browns used to do, we're not doing anymore. And it pretty much correlates with him being there. Like, think about that draft room and that inside footage versus what we heard in 2014, 12 years ago, right? When they put the camera on the Browns draft room in 2014, we heard that a homeless man told our owner who we should take at pick 24. Think about that. Think about the organization of that war room, the calmness and the decisiveness of that war room versus the chaos of 2014, where we had an analytical study tell us we should take Teddy Bridgewater, but no, a homeless man told Jimmy Haslam he needs to take Johnny Manziel, so that's who he ends up taking. Think about the difference, the stark difference between those two draft rooms. One is the same old Browns. One is hopefully pushing us to a different direction. This is why I still have hope that despite the dysfunction, despite the chaos, and despite the massive failure at the Watson contract and the Watson trade, that they can rise out of this and still be a good football team on the right path. This is why Eric DeCosta is willing to publicly praise Andrew Berry for his job as a general manager in the 2026 draft. Game recognizes game, right? And nobody knows game more than the number one disciple of one of the best general managers of all time, Ozzie Newsome, right? And that's what Eric DeCosta is. So he knows what a good GM looks like. He worked under one forever. So he looks at what Andrew's doing. He's like, okay, yeah, he cooking. That smell familiar. That means something. Again, you got to win behind it. It's not enough just to be around it or to get praise from your peers. Praise from your peers don't show up on the win-loss record. But this is the stuff that makes me feel like internally, from the front office side, we have something going right. It's not going so right that we're winning games automatically yet, but man, we are doing some things right from the front office standpoint. And I'm saying this as a lifelong Browns fan. I've watched this team for many years. And when cameras are in our war room, we usually get embarrassed. Okay? When information, when stories get written, when they have somebody embedded in our war room, it's usually something historically embarrassing that pops out. The fact that we didn't do that, and not only did that, we look pretty impressive. I think that speaks the world of the direction that they're going and the confidence that, ownership has in Andrew Berry and why that confidence is there and that it's earned. Go look at this and go look at Brandon Beane and how he acts. And then look at Andrew Berry and tell me who's the adult in the room. Now, look, the Buffalo Bills have been able to win despite bad GMing. The same thing is with the San Francisco 49ers. They've been able to win despite bad drafts. They haven't been bad GMing, but bad drafts, right? I think Kyle Shanahan's the one who admitted that he watches highlight tapes to tell who he should watch film on, which is a crazy thing for a coach to say. Like, he makes his scouts cut him up highlight tapes, and if he doesn't like somebody's highlight tapes, he's not going to get into their any of their background. It's crazy. And the San Francisco 49ers drafts have been terrible under Kyle Shanahan. There's correlation there, right? That kind of stuff's not coming out about Cleveland anymore. I think that's worth noting. Don't know what it turns into. Hopefully it's another good draft, and hopefully that leads to wins. But this is why I have some hope left that despite everything, we might just get out of it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.